So something crazy happened. I got engaged a week ago on, what day would that have been? On the 8th of February. I don't even know where to start. So I've been waiting to do this project for about 3 years now. I'm gonna be customizing my wedding dress. So, it's in that box. We're gonna get it down and bring it into my room so we can kind of assess it. But I got this wedding dress off of Facebook Marketplace 3 years ago. It was $200 and my parents said, hey, if this is the dress you want, this is the dress we'll pay for. Game plan. So for this project, I have 7 months to do this. The things that we have to do to it are a little bit extensive, and do I have a ton of sewing experience? Yes? Question mark? For the wedding, the dress for the ceremony has to be white. The reception, it really doesn't matter. So my plan is to make it either some level of convertible to where either the skirt is removable, or my kind of idea was kind of like a jacket almost, to where it's just easily removable and then you see the fun dress underneath. We're also going to sketch up some designs and ideas and kind of revisit some of my previous designs for this because I've been designing this for a very long time. So I think it's actually starting to settle now. It hasn't really settled. It's gonna be fun. It's either gonna be a disaster or it's gonna be really fun. So let's go. Let's get it done. This part. There's an extra skirt. It's the same material. This is extra material and pieces. And then here it is. But now let's head to my room and we'll unbox it. I've taken this thing out of blocks multiple times, so it is not as fancy as it's supposed to be in here. It's technically just rolled up into a ball. Sorry. It's one giant burrito. Rocks can go to the side. Yes, don't worry, I'll get it steamed before we get there. Don't worry. Oh god, this is so weird taking it out when I know it, like, oh, this is actually gonna be happening relatively sooner than later. Look how pretty that is. So much potential. If you don't like customizing anything, don't watch this video. So this is the back. It is very long. Very, oh, I can see it in the mirror now. It's very, very long, but it's very, very beautiful. Do I want it this long? No, absolutely not. But do I want to get rid of any of this applique? Not really, to be honest. How much of the applique you can see. But then on the flip side, this is the front. It is so pretty. I feel like a princess. Very, very pretty. Fits very, very well around torso. Super, super well. Up top, not really as much. Slight game plan is that these sleeves are gone. I hate these sleeves so much. We'll probably save the material from it, like maybe the appliques, and we can put the appliques elsewhere. My favorite part is the bodice. Bodice is probably going to stay the most the same as far as like removing appliques and stuff like that. I do like the front, however, show you if I can. You can see my feet. There's so much material to go around in this dress, so I'm going to be thriving in material to use. I like how this bodice is. I don't know how I'm going to approach this because it has to be convertible for this ceremony and make like a jacket covering. I want to keep this bodice as the part that I customize for the reception. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. One of my ideas was cutting this part down the center so I can separate it, put like a panel on the interior, and even have that be part of like the pull away reveal, and then just replace this skirt with a different skirt. But I love how thick this material is, because the thing is, I want to heavily customize this dress with fabric dye, appliques, 3D flowers, the works. I'm not sure how we're going to be doing that. So, this part of the video is just more me showing off, just like, this is my wedding dress, this is what I'm going to be wearing when I say yes to the love of my life. This little butt puff is hilarious. It is missing a few beads, a lot of beads. It's missing a few buttons, so luckily some of the material that I have, I can be able to switch those out. Yeah, so this is the dress, and we'll see where we go with this. And welcome back to the video for the construction of my wedding dress. It's been a hot minute since I've been approaching the design of it in person. I talked to one of my friends about the dress after both trying it on and putting it on a dress form, which I no longer have. We'll see how that goes. She was being honest, and she's not sure how I'm going to make this work, but she also knows that I can do it. She believes in me. So I appreciate your support. You know who you are. So yeah, it's gonna be complicated, and I only have 5 months. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's gonna go perfect. It's gonna go well. If it doesn't, I'll scrap together something else. So anyway, considering the fact that I'm in a bit of a mental block when it comes to like creativity and stuff like that at the moment. But the one thing that I can get done from this dress that'll get the ball rolling for me to spur into the construction of this dress, because it's going to be a lot of work. I can cut off the sleeves. I hate those sleeves with a fiery passion. They're ugly, they look disgusting, and I'll be able to use the appliques for something else. So let's do this. I'm not stalling. I'm not stalling. I'm just getting hit with the wave of how much I have 5 months to get this dress done. Let's try and get it done sooner than that. Honestly, I could probably just sit on my bed doing it, because there's better lighting in here than the living room, and my art room is just a mess right now. Appliques are removed. They're more moved than removed, but yeah, these are just ugly, ugly sleeves. Okay, this is probably not proper sewing technique, but when have I ever been proper when it comes to my sewing techniques? Also, this seamstress, oh my. What kind of sewing job is that? Was this handmade? No, it wasn't. Could have fooled me. Oh my gosh, this is cheap. It's kind of ironic, this dress is about as old as I am. Alright, 3, 2, 1, and cut! That was a bit nerve-wracking. Alright, that's one sleeve cut off. I will be saving you. Oh, there it goes. I'm probably just landing into a corner to get covered in cat fur. Alright, on to the second one. if I get through taking off these sleeves and I still have the motivation, I might go ahead and separate the bodice from the skirt. Is that a bad idea? I don't know. It might be. Is it gonna stop? No. Of course not. I've got 5 months to do this. Gotta do my best to make the most of it. If it's any consolation, I know for a fact my job is gonna look a lot better than whoever sewed this thing together originally. Because, oh my gosh, these are bad stitching. And that is sleeve 2 that is gone. Finally, because they're ugly. Alright, doesn't look too bad. Perfect inner seams to be able to sew the new sleeves onto it. And then I'll have still these appliques to attach. So, looking at this zipper is on the inner part, and actually it only goes down to here. That's actually not too terrible. That's better than I thought. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cut the zipper out to where it just attaches to the skirt, and where the skirt attaches. And that actually is going to be where it's going to be a little bit more difficult, because I'm not going to remove the gathering of this skirt, because I'm going to keep the skirt intact for the most part, aside from like maybe a little bit in the front. You see this spot? This is the base of the bodice. I am probably going to go in. I'm very, very sorry, Jenna, that I'm going to be doing this. You're probably looking at the camera, so it's like, no, don't do it. I'm probably going to cut along this line, so the skirt remains gathered. But there is also this gathered lining on the inside. So I'll probably just avoid that so it can remain gathered. They can be in separate pieces. Well, no time like the present. Why don't we just start? Okay, so I've gotten this part folded out, so it goes in like this. So I have this folded out, so I'll just basically cut in the ditch all along, and then separate the bodice. And Bob is your uncle. Oh hey, looks like I can actually, according to the tag, I can actually put this in. I can't put this in the dishwasher. I can put this in the laundry. Fantastic. First snip. Hoo hoo hoo. One thing I didn't realize with this thicker polyester material is the fact that the reason why it feels so thick is that it's the base layer, silky polyester, with a liner. Makes a lot more sense. Because I'm like, I want to find the heavy stuff. And I can't because it's layered. I just made another discovery. So this lining is actually the lining that had like the butt puff on it. Whereas the rest of it looks like this. Explains why it looked so poorly made. Oh my goodness. Now, honestly, the more that I do work on it, the less and less I feel bad about cutting it up. New development. Exciting. It worked. Here's the skirt. Lovely, 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 lovely. Alright, skirt and bodice have been separated. So this is just the skirt right at the top. Here's the top that is no longer sleeved, and then the copious amounts of skirt. So yeah, I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm going to cut it down the front. The skirt, specifically. So, back on the tripod you go. Okay, I have found the center panel that goes to a single point. Here's the point. So basically just at the wedding, it'll be a bit of a reveal to basically pull this off as if it's a jacket, and then there's a colorful dress underneath. So let's cut it. Is this a bad idea? I don't know. Probably. There's so much material in this daggone dress. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have it lined up. The right one. Most important point, don't get cocky. Let's see if it glides. It's gliding. Okay. Please let this not ruin my scissors. There's little pearl beads falling everywhere, and sequins. Okay, we're looking good so far, actually. All of the seamstresses in the comment section are gonna be probably screaming at me, use a table! I don't have one. I mean, technically I do, but it's taken over by other projects at the moment. So. And last here, and right. Let me show you what the bodice looks like on after removing the sleeves. So this is how the bodice looks. It's a bit loose in the chest area, but it fits perfectly the rest of the bodice. And this will be perfect to add in sleeves, and it just fits so well. So yeah, that looks great. All right, we're gonna have to figure something out with this one, but it's one big open cape basically, but it's so much heavier now. So I don't know about this part, but at least the bodice looks cool. So we are back in my room. This is 2 days after we cut the actual dress itself up. My motivation has been out the window at the moment. So I'm gonna basically just try and do something that I know would work. Which in this case, I have a few old veils that I found at the thrift store. They're really, really pretty floral appliques on the bottom. So I'm basically just gonna cut those off because I don't have drive or motivation to do anything else. So I'm in a cutting mode at this moment. Yeah, so let's get cutting. So I found these 2 veils at Deseret last Halloween. They're very, very pretty. And then this one, giant floral appliques on them. So basically, we're just gonna take the scissor and just start cutting. Alright, that's all of that removed. It's like, look how pretty these flowers are. Update on the wedding dress. Have I worked on it? No, because I've been moving and working and doing markets, and so I've been really busy. So, but that's not the point. I have been trying to get more and more materials to use for the jacket portion of the dress, and when I was in McCall, I found a wedding dress to harvest, and then today when I was out thrifting, I had this idea for the sleeves for the underdress. So you see how it has like the pretty, like almost, it looks like a puffy sleeve, but it's like a loose cap sleeve almost, and it's layered. So I was thinking with that because let me show you the material that I found to harvest. So I found this pretty blouse at, where did I find you? Desert Industries. Look at that trim detail with the stars and the flower. It's so cute. So I'm gonna harvest all of this and then use that as a multi-layered version of the sleeves. I realize a lot of this video is probably just gonna be me doing a bunch of cutting and then a bunch of sewing and then detailing. So one thing I do need to get is a new dress form, which I'm hoping to have by the time I move, so I could primarily focus on working on the dress when I'm in my new house, and that'll probably just be my main project that I focus on until the wedding. So, all right, we got quite a bit of this. Just two cuffs. Lovely. All right, we are at my friend Jenna's house, who will remain faceless. We are going to pattern out the jacket portion, and so far the bodice still fits. That's a plus. And I was actually just telling Jenna this. It's nice because it's all snug right in this portion, but it's loose more in the stomach area. So when I reattach the skirt, it'll be a bit more, not necessarily form-fitting on this area, but this is like the main area that I'll have to fix. This part, but and then add new sleeves, which will be the cap sleeves is what I'm planning on doing. So now time to wrap myself in plastic wrap. This will be fun. Okay, now on to the duct tape. Looks better than my last attempt. All right, cut this off. Oh gosh, skin suit. So once I get more defined design set up, then we can start going about measuring this and patterning out the sections, because this is just going to be the jacket portion that'll be on top of this. Very glad to have this off of me because plastic wrap sticks to you a lot. And then I can also save this for future projects, for other duct tape creation. Well, not necessarily duct tape creation. Yeah, it looks good. I'm excited. We got less than 3 months. Let's do this. Hello everyone, this is Lydia from the future, 4 months after said wedding happened. I wanted to interject into the video just to show you exactly what my plan ended up being for the design of the dress. The design essentially evolved from the second that I got engaged and started planning to about a month before the wedding. So you hear me talking a lot about the plan, but you don't really see the plan because I never showed any of my designs. It kind of just like went along with everything that I was creating. So I do have my sketches. I'll just show those to you. A lot of the process ended up not getting filmed because I was so stressed and I was trying to just get it done. A lot of the times I forgot to like either bring my camera or just even film. So let's take a look at the designs. All right, welcome back. It is later in the day because I had a dentist appointment earlier today, like right before I filmed the last clip. Now it's evening and I've already had dinner and everything. So here we go. So this was one of my first initial ideas for the jacket, of making it kind of like a bolero covering over the top part of the bodice, because I already knew what I wanted the reception dress to look like, but not really the ceremony dress. So I wanted it to be more kind of a mix of like the elves from Lord of the Rings, but also Queen Amidala. So this was a kind of general first idea. This was my design for the bodice for the reception dress. So you see all of the cap sleeves, the appliques, and then appliques around the edge, And then I originally was gonna add like this rib cage detail because I wanted it to have some sort of a spooky element, but I didn't get around to that and I did not have enough time. Okay, so for whatever friggin' reason, I can't find that original sketchbook before I switched over to this one. Because I did have a different sketchbook that I had finished off and I genuinely don't know where it went. These ended up being closer to the final designs. I'm probably just gonna try putting them on the screen since I just have them on my phone. So this became my final design for the reception dress with the high-low, flowers, appliques, and little spoiler alert, this ended up being like the perfect page-to-life design. Like it turned out so good. And then this was more generalized idea for the ceremony dress. So like with the long applique. Then again with the elven detail, so I wanted the kind of like a cap triangle collar with little cap sleeves, the kind of teardrop elven sleeves, and then the tulle, and then something up front to make it all connect together. And then this last one, these ended up being closer to it, so kind of like with the collar in the back. And what I didn't really sketch out was that there's the tulip sleeves and everything. What I ended up making for was a collar piece and then a long kind of structured teardrop, kind of like how Queen Amidala has in her royal throne room, has like that center piece that goes down the center. That's what I ended up doing. This is probably as close as I'll get to actually having designs on screen. This was from quite a few years ago, also with that ribcage idea, with flowers all across the front with like puff sleeves and everything. And here's even like the early ideas of having the cap sleeves. This is like trying to get ideas on how to make it convertible. So honestly, this ended up turning out pretty good with the longer sleeves, details around the waist, and then I even have my staff with the hanging flowers. But yeah, this was another one of my early sketches of the reception dress. Again, the striped tights with the boots, high-low, florals, all of that. So I hope that provides some more context as to what the heck I'm doing with both of these dresses. They took so much time, but honestly, they were worth it in the end. Back to past Lydia, who is currently losing her mind. So, one of my projects that I'm currently working on, since we're now getting more fully into wedding dress prep, is cleaning the skirts. So this is my new little laundry setup in my new apartment. I have one of the skirts. This is going to be the one that I have underneath the main portion of the dress. Oh, it cleaned beautifully, at least I think it did. Yeah, that one is going right into the dryer. Also, this has all of this damage on the bottom, which the nice part is this is in the front. So it'll be cut off when I make it the high-low. If this is still left, I'm planning to cover it in like appliques and stuff like that. So let's toss that in there. Low heat. Now let's go get one of the main events, which is the big skirt. There's a lot of appliques on this, so I'm putting it on the gentlest of settings that I can manage. So, also, this is my living space now. That's more wedding dress stuff, so. I know you're technically supposed to dry clean this stuff, but am I gonna do that? No, because I don't wanna go to a dry cleaners. I wanna do this myself, so. Yeah, so let's go take this, put it in the wash. So we'll see how this goes, because this is a lot of skirt. It's so much material. Here goes nothing. My mom did suggest me to go potentially find a dress in case this doesn't work. First of all, valid. Very, very valid. Because we'll see how this works, but here we go. Haha, it fit. Oh boy, that's a lot of material. Also, I am sorry. Oh, not really. I apologize to everyone who is watching this video and screaming at the screen because of my recklessness, but I swear this will look good in the end. If it doesn't, that's my fault. Here goes nothing. There is so much skirt. Oh my gosh. Okay, that fits a lot better. Still a tight squeeze. Sorry, Mom. Don't hear any. I spoke too soon. There are a few. Ooh, there's more. Alright, big skirt in the wash. No, in the dry. And again with the low heat. This is what we're doing right now, so okay. Alright. I think it needs to be run for one more round of time, partially because it's just rolled them into a ball. Back to it. All right, we're back. And now I think this is done. It's all in one piece. So. Good afternoon, everybody. We are a little over a month until the wedding, and now I made the difficult decision to step away from doing markets, which one of the markets takes place today. And with having only a month to do so much before the wedding, I decided to not do the next few markets, even though I was planning on it. And I also will be getting a refund for one of the booths, which really sucks. But that all to say, it is now wedding dress time. I have a month to do this. So when I went to Jenna's house to start doing this, I haven't touched it since then. So now I recently put it on and started tracing out the patterns and stuff like that. I'm gonna remove this excess plastic wrap. But then I'll have the pattern pieces laid out so we can start plotting out stuff. And then I do plan on doing a mock-up for this because this is not going to be easy. Well, it will be. It just might be a little bit difficult. So, anyhoozle. This is one half, that's the other half. So I'm gonna get back to doing this. So in this case, let's do a quick transition. And all right, this is all of it laid out. This is the pattern for the jacket portion because I don't need a pattern for the skirt or anything. So we've got back left center, back left side, front left side, front left center, front right center, front right side, back right side, and back right center. And then we have the extra strap pieces right here. Color, I'm gonna have to finagle a little bit. Same thing with the sleeve, because I cut the sleeves from the top with the intention of adding more duct tape in there, and then once I modify that, then I can cut the bottom. But the sleeves are kind of the least of my worries. Hello, I have now transferred the pattern pieces to some purple material, and I'm currently cutting them out. Don't focus on the fact that I have not ironed the material. I'm not going to do that. So, because this is just the mock-up, so I don't have to worry about that. Pattern pieces are looking good so far. It's just like a simple purple cotton material, so it's not gonna miss it. So, but so far they're looking pretty good. Then right behind me are all the actual duct tape pattern pieces. So I'll be saving all of these pattern pieces. Once I do the mock-up, I finally found one of my freaking pin cushions, because with the move I put my pin cushion somewhere and I don't know which box I put it in. And I've tried combing through every single box that I can find and I have not found it yet. But I found this one. This used to belong to my grandma who passed away less than a month ago. And honestly, I forgot that it was actually hers until my sister had posted about it. I was like, oh yeah, I ended up with this. So she's gonna be helping me with working on this pattern. Am I an amateur when it comes to sewing? Yes, very much so. I'm honestly an amateur at quite many things. But I enjoy doing it, so I'm gonna get better the more I do it. But yeah, so I'm gonna get back to patterning, and then I'll show y'all what the mock-up looks like once I'm done pinning everything together. Okay, so this is weird. I don't know why my eyes are tearing up or whatever. This is the first time I have ever done a mock-up. Like, pretty sure ever. And it worked. So this is all of the, well, it's just one side pinned together currently. But like, I have what some people call creative grace, but also can be labeled as crafter's audacity, as termed by Rachel Maxine. But like, this worked. Oh my gosh. And then it actually, making your own clothes, dude. That's actually pretty worth it. Let's get to cutting and then pinning again. I probably will just test the pattern, and then instead of relying on the duct tape pieces, which are a little bit finicky with their edges, I might just go for using the purple material as the pattern pieces themselves. Granted, once I'm done with the mock-up, I have to figure out the collar pieces, which is this. Because it'll look like that, essentially. But the sleeves are going to be another challenge for another day. So yeah, let's get to pinning and then test it out. Then we can go for it. Okay, so if we're looking in the mirror, it actually worked really, really well. I'm probably going to have to add like maybe an inch or two on each side. I'm not going to sew the sleeves just yet because I might have to modify that a little bit because it does bunch up a lot around this area, but it is supposed to be covering something, so because it's technically going to be a jacket. So back looks good though. I'm quite liking this. I've never done this before and it looks already so good. So yeah, I'll probably make like a few inch strip on the front and then cut in all of that. So because yeah, this is the problem side. Like the pinning looks just fine, but it's the sleeve that's just pulling a bit and just bunching up a bit too much. So yeah, anyway, looking really good. So all right, there have now been about 2-inch or so panels added to it, and it looks great. I'm gonna go ahead and fully cut all of these pieces out for just take off all of the seam allowances out of the mock-up so I can use these as the actual pattern pieces instead of the duct tape. And then we can start cutting out the thicker material, because since it's going to be a jacket form, I'll probably have a double layer jacket portion, but it is pretty late and I have to be up early tomorrow. So I'm just going to, I just want to make sure I get some things done today, because it's been a long day. So yeah, I'm gonna get all of the pattern, all of the seam allowances cut off, and then we'll go to bed, and then we'll approach this again when I get home tomorrow. Alright, it is the next day now, and now with all the pattern pieces being done, I'm going to use this skirt material. I got it from Savers. This one is the closest one to the big skirt. So this is what I'm going to be using for the jacket bodice. And then this skirt also is very shimmery. I got it for a yard sale like a decade ago for like a few bucks. That looks pretty similar to the shirt itself. So yeah, I do have a pattern pencil, because yeah, once I have the pattern pieces out and cut and done and everything, then I can make a second layer, so the back and the front together, and then sew all the pieces together. But let's at least focus on getting everything cut. So all of this is just one singular panel from the dress. So I can, it's very, very flat, which I'm really impressed about, because most material that I've worked with has been very, very wrinkly. So I basically could, this is upside down, so the shimmery material is the underside. So that means I can just basically put the spot pieces on there and trace them out, and then we can work on double layering. So yeah. And now to cut them out. Alright, I'm calling it done for today. Oh my gosh, I underestimated how long it can take me to... I haven't even sewn anything. I've only cut and pinned quite a few different times since starting yesterday. So, my gosh. Anywho. So we have the entire bodice for the whole jacket portion. Tomorrow, potentially I can start working on the sleeves, which I'll have to sketch out and pattern out again. And then, I can't really think straight right now. I'm really tired. Pinning and cutting out material is a lot of mental jumps. Ooh. And a lot of hoops to jump through. It's not bad, it's just takes a while, so. But it is nice that it's starting to come back to me, so happy with it. So, and y'all might get mad at me in the comments, but this is how I did my salad costume. Was sewing the lining and the top material together, and then sewing the separate pattern pieces together by folding in the seams. I know that's not necessarily ideal, but it's worked for me in the past, and so I'm willing to give it a shot again. So we'll see how it looks, and we can start working on drafting the collar area and the, like I said, the sleeves. I also need to pattern out a bolero that'll go on top, that'll have the more dramatic sleeve portion to it. So yeah, all of this came from one panel from one of the dresses that I cut up. It was just one of the skirt panels. So yeah, that went pretty far, and I still have a lot of it left over, so I'll be able to use that for a good portion of everything else. So I'll see you the next time I update you. Hello, I am now in a new area, which this is my parents' house, but I have now sewed all of the pattern pieces. So now I need to go through and pin them, and then we can do the official try on, and then sew everything together. Is this gonna work? I don't know. But has that stopped me? Oh no. Alright, I have pattern piece is done. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try it on inside out to see. This all came together pretty well. Okay. Oh boy. Adjusted a bit. Out here. Oh dang. It worked. I'll have to sew it in to see. Just gotta sew everything in together, and then I'll probably make this more narrow, but we are looking good. I know it doesn't look like much, but it does to me, so. Final try on. Because it's a little bit late right now, so. Hey. Okay, it needs a lot of work. You're looking good. It's a lot of work, but it's getting there. Okay, cool. I'm not stressed out about it at all. I guess one of the hard parts is that I don't have a dress for it. That's the difficult part of trying to make this fit properly. So, yeah, that's progress. Hello. I look like a mess because, of course, I worked earlier today, then had a long commute home. We are T-minus 28 days until my fiance and my wedding. We only have 28 days left, and I still have a lot to do. Am I done with my dress? No. Have I made progress? Yes. I'm gonna keep working on my dress right now. My rehearsal dinner dress is finished. My Lydia Dietz dress. Her gloves came in the mail, by the way. Got these cute little kid gloves don't know if you heard that, but that was some thunder. We've been having a lot of thunderstorms in my town. Yeah, I'm honestly really impressed with how good the dress actually looks. Well, it's the jacket portion, so I haven't even added it to the skirt. The skirt is currently right there. So yeah, yes, that is my goal for tonight because I have a few hours before I need to be in bed. Oh, and my wedding leggings came in, so now that's another thing off my list to check off. I have black and white striped tights to wear underneath my dress. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited. Now I'm going to set up my sewing machine and sew the portion of the jacket portion because I was really surprised. I fixed one part of it, which was around the sleeve area, and it fixed it. Like easy enough. It looks so much better now because at first I was like, it really doesn't look that great, but then that fixed everything. Well, pretty much all of the issues that I had with it. My next challenge is the fact that the back seams are very, very uneven. I don't know if I can just like sew a brand new panel on top of the whole thing and call that good. Either that, or granted the appliques that I have are just going to cover up all the seams anyway, so it kind of just, no, I really, really regret selling my dress forms. But what can I do now? I'm going to get it set up and then we're going to sew. So the portion that I'm sewing now, since I don't have the sleeves patterned out yet, I am just sewing along the inner, no, they're technically the outer seams. So the seams that go around the collar area, and then if I decide to add like a collar area, oh no, because the collar area was going to be on top of the bolero. That's what it was. Okay. So yeah, it's mainly just like collar area and then the underside. But heck, I might not even sew the underside because I'll be just sewing that directly onto the main skirt. So we'll have to figure out that. And then looking at the bodice portion, the main things that I have to edit as far as like the overlap is about, say, like an inch or so on each side, because I'm still trying to figure out how to make that hideable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So you can't really see the fact that it can come apart in the front, essentially. So yes, I have plenty of hooks and eyes that I could use for this part, but we shall see. So I, in fact, will have to add more material up top. So that means I will have to make a collar because I tried it on with the under corset underneath it and a lot of the appliques show. So I need to make a collar, but I want to like shift away from that because it does fit really well, but I want to shift away from that and just focus on a little bit more manageable task. So I have this is the underskirt. I'm gonna sew the two of these together because I want to shift away from working on the jacket dress. So we'll get back to that later. So I haven't seen what it looks like on yet. I had to struggle with the seams because I accidentally sewed on top part of the zipper, but holy crap, this worked. Wow. It worked and it looks pretty good, actually. Just have to sew down a few seams and then we'll be cutting a high-low, probably like, say, mid-knee, mid-calf-ish. But it looks good. Oh, thank God this worked. Oh my gosh. I'm unnecessarily stressed. No, actually, rightfully stressed. But it snatches my waist perfectly. It fits right here. Then this just needs to be sewn down. I'll add the extra appliques around that. Then all the appliques on the skirt. I'm gonna look great. It's gonna be awesome. Success. Now I need to go to bed because I need to be up early. But it looks so good. I'm so excited. I get married in 28 days. All right, we are now at T-minus 25 days to the wedding. And so my friend Jenna came over last night to help me with my dress, and we had gone to a craft store to get some dye for the dress itself, which is gonna look great. And then she helped me make the skirt into a high-low a lot easier. She's a more experienced seamstress than I am, so she was able to help me get it to an even point where it's high enough in the front so I don't trip over it, and also on the sides because it's gathered a lot, so it's a lot more difficult to have it just be like one giant high-low kind of thing. And then she helped me trim up the back. It looks perfect. Now is the fun part where, granted, am I done with the jacket portion? No, not yet. I am taking a break from that so I can focus on this dress, because this dress technically needs more work done to it. Honestly, well, that's debatable. The dyes that we got is pink Rit Dye More, because that'll be the base for the dip dye on the bottom. And then I got teal, green, and some more purple, and I also have aquamarine. So those are what we're going to be dyeing the appliques with. So it's going to be essentially pink base, tealish blue, green appliques, and then adding the three-dimensional colored flowers to it. So that's going to look really, really freaking cool. I'm going to figure out how to do color to part of the appliques, but also we need to do a test run first, because I don't know how well the dye is going to react to the material, because the material is the satiny polyester material. My worry is if it's a dip dye, it's going to bleed. That's like my biggest concern. So I don't want that to happen. So hence why we're doing a test. Wow, I'm growing as an artist. I'm actually doing testing for things instead of just being like, screw it, I'm doing whatever. So I can use the smaller of my two dyeing pots to use for the applique specifically. I also have one of my clothing items that I need to dye teal anyway. So we're gonna start with either the teal or the aquamarine. We'll see. Or mix the two. That actually might not be a bad idea. Let's start on the pink so we can do the test run, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, here we go. I also do not have the time or the patience to wait for this to heat up on a stove. So luckily my faucet does run hot enough in order to do the dye, and it actually gets really, really hot. So that'll work out pretty well. I hope and pray. Got it shaken up a little bit. Ah, look at that pink. I'm just saying screw it and just going with the whole bottle. Now to get this soaked a bit, and then use that to do the test. Okay, so I soaked it as much as possible. I ended up cutting up a smaller piece. Okay, let's test it. Okay. Interesting. It does seem like the longer you soak it, it should absorb more, but it's not a ton that we can go based off of that. But I am also curious to know if the dry material will dye just as well as, if not better, than the wet material. So let's try that. Dry piece. It doesn't even go into the water. Yeah. Come on. Honestly, it looks like it just sticks to the top of the material and then kind of slides off. Okay, I just said screw it and I just dumped that whole piece into here. I'm just going to let this soak probably until later tonight. And so I'm going to switch pots so I can start the teal process, because I know what I'll be dyeing for that. So, okay, let's move this over. Alright, new pot. Ooh, look at that mix of teal and aquamarine. Instead of doing like a little test strand like the other ones, I have this ruffled romper that I'm wearing for one of my bridal parties, which is coming up this weekend. This is what I'm going to test. Alright, let's do this. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh, it's fine. That's really pretty. Probably gonna mix some green into it though for the actual thing. I also did not put a whole bottle of dye into this, so that's probably could be part of it. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit for a bit. I'm gonna go make myself some food, and then we will come back and then assess. Being honest, I will probably be mixing some green into this to make it pop. I also had the realization that I should probably test out this material too, the one that has the stars on it, because this is going to be on my sleeves and I'm planning to dip dye them in the pink as well. So let's test that out. Don't you love getting experimental when your wedding is literally 3 weeks away? I think I do. Okay, this is just dry, so we'll see. Just enough to get the appliques. Ooh, that's pretty. Screw it, I'm just dropping it in. Okay, we'll catch on that later. All right, I took out the romper from the water and it's currently drying in the shower at the moment. So I added some more green and a little bit more teal into it. And so that's actually, okay, you can kind of just see it there. That looks really good. So I'm gonna take my stack of appliques and drop them in. Wish me luck. Ooh, that looks good. Big stack of them, so no time like the present. Y'all, if this works, this will be great if it works. So these are specifically the appliques that will be going around the hem, like the bottom hem of the dress. You can see them gradually like submerging. That's it. Push them in. Ooh, that looks pretty. Ooh. I really like that. I like that a lot more than just the plain teal. Ooh, that looks good. For now. I might, since it is a little bit minty, I might go in afterwards with another round of some more teal and or aquamarine and just try and mix it up a little bit. So this is how that little sleeve tidbit turned out. The appliques turned out really cool, but this ended up being like a purplish. So that's honestly perfect for what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab the rest of that and just drop it all in. The skirt piece is looking a little bit iffy. Back to it. Alright. Bloop. And bloop. And honestly, at some point I might just go back inside into my parents' house and use their stove, because I don't have a stovetop. So I can't exactly utilize that. Because that might be what I'm missing, at least for the skirt material. It might just need to be hotter in order for it to absorb into the dress material. So let's take this little bit and try and rinse it out and see how much comes out of it. Let's see how this looks. So what I'm seeing is that when it's like crinkled up, when it has to get, you can see the crinkles in the dye, but that's actually not too bad of a dye job. This all turned purple, but whatevs. Okay, looking it up, apparently for dyeing polyester satin, which is what the skirt is made of, you have to have it as boiling in order for the pink, well, in order for the color to take at all, because apparently it just opens up the fibers so it can be absorbed into it. So that makes a ton more sense, especially because I don't have a stove in here. So I'm gonna bring, in this case, just bring the dye inside and just start boiling it, because then I can test the fabric strip, and then if it works, then I have the dress inside, I can just do it, essentially. So, is it a bad idea? I don't know. That's not gonna stop me. So, it is now or never. The test looks great, so we're gonna test it out now. Actually, I decided I'm gonna hem the skirt first, and then try and dye it. Okay, so, finished the hem, so now I just need to water this, and then stick it in. But, I soaked the sleeves for longer and now they don't look good anymore. I'll have to figure something out for that. heavy. Anyway. Okay, so you can't see it really well in this lighting, but it turned out so good. Still dry, but whatever. And any of the little smudges that have shown up, it just like comes out. It's so great. I need to bring this back over to the apartment so I can just hang it to dry in the bathroom. It worked! It frickin' worked! We now have 3 weeks in a day, and oh my gosh, it's exactly how I'm dreaming it to be. Like, in this lighting it doesn't look the most pink, it actually looks a little bit desaturated, but like, you can't really tell because of the angle of the mirror. Hold on, see it super well, but the high-low turned out perfect. And then just yesterday I like soaked part of the appliques, like the edges, in pink, and then also soaked the top of it. And one funny thing that I found out is that when you are dyeing the polyester, as we found out, it has to be boiling, which is what this was for when I did that. So since I didn't have boiling dye anymore, the only thing that dyed was the applique when I put it in. And then I literally could just take my faucet and just spray off all the excess dye. Like, it kind of like tinted it a little bit. But oh my gosh, it looks so good. I'm so excited to start adding flowers to this. I just pray I have enough flowers to add. So, and I did some on the back as well. I'm excited. I am stressed. Okay, I now have a burst of energy to get stuff done, so I currently have appliques boiling again. I'm boiling the green ones again because they turned out too green. And then I have another trim that I'm dyeing more teal instead of green, just so it looks better. I'm also just talking my ideas out because I keep on forgetting. This is how I get things done, is by talking about things. Also, my hands are teal from doing the teal. So this is my setup for my dress. I have like a single hot plate and just currently letting the dip dye soak. Hello everyone, we are at 19 days until the wedding. I realize I haven't really filmed a ton more because I keep on getting distracted, even though the verbal talking about it helps a lot. But I redid the dip dye, it looks a lot better, and I have now pinned all of my green appliques, which I dyed these darker, around the front. Then I had this the other applique from earlier in the video. I dyed this. I was trying to dye it kind of like a lighter teal, but it ended up just being kind of like light colored. Dude, holding this up, it looks like I look like a princess. It looks so pretty. It looks so amazing. Been really struggling with like trying to figure this out and make sure this works, and because I've been just having a lot of self-doubt, which is common. Like, I have less than 3 weeks until the wedding, so it is a lot. But I'm just trying to push through, and it's like, I'm getting this done. I am going to be wearing this custom made wedding dress that I custom made, but come hell or high water, with however many long late nights it takes me. But granted, that's at the detriment of my own health, which is not good. But in the meantime, I am currently in the process of pinning the sleeve portions, which I just recently dyed these pieces. I found it on it was a lace trim on a top at Savers, because I was gonna go with this lace trim because it's really, really cute. It has the stars and everything, but I dyed it for too long, so now it looks like it's burnt. I can't use that. So I went to Savers with the intention of finding a new lace piece and some decor. I found this. It was originally like a cream color, and I dyed it pink. Had to dye it twice for it to absorb the most color, but it's looking really great. And so I'm now just in the process of pinning them to the bodice, well, the sleeve holders, and then I also dyed the appliques a little bit more. So yeah, this is honestly just turning into more of a vlog than an actual crafting video, because I'm kind of just doing this a lot, and it's like I don't always want to pull out the camera to film, even though I know I'm supposed to be. So it's just a little bit difficult. But so I have a new update for the dress. Well, part of it. I dyed these sections of this kind of blue tulle skirt that I got from Facebook Marketplace with a little bit of purple, and it made it look so much more aesthetically pleasing for the dress. But that's not what I'm working on tonight. Granted, it's still hard to push through lack of motivation, but these are the tulle sleeves that will go on the jacket portion of the dress. And then last night I finished pinning the collar pieces, and then this new applique came in the mail, and I'll be putting this on the back of the dress, partially to hide the bad seams that I made, so whatever. So now I'm just going through here. I'm also just trying to figure out how to do the elven sleeves, because that pattern is making me struggle a little bit. Because I have this material, it was from a different wedding dress, so now I've used, this is my 4th wedding dress that I've used now. It's a little bit thicker than the other polyester material I've been using. It kind of, the way that it drapes is already almost like an elven sleeve pattern. I think what I'm gonna do is that I made a sleeve pattern from when I did the duct tape pattern, and this is the more modified version of my shoulders. I made it a little bit wider so it can fit better, because I thought I could potentially just drape the elven sleeve, but it's proving to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. So I think I'm going to drape this on top of the material and then just kind of like taper it out into like the kind of teardrop shape, I guess. So we'll see if that works, but I'm basically just trying to get the main pattern pieces finished and cut up and pinned together, so I have just a large stock to just go ahead and sew, just so I can just plug in my machine once and then just work on all of the pieces just one after the other and just get those done. Because once we get the sleeves and the rest of the stuff added onto the bodice, then we can start going in and adding the snaps and then add it to the big skirt. So yeah, I'm literally Frankensteining this, because this is about around 4 or 5 dresses that I'm cutting up. So this material actually came from the 2 veils. That's where all of the appliques that are on the wedding dress came from, at least the ones on the skirt. But then I had all of this extra tulle material, and one of them is a significantly softer tulle than the other one. So that's why I'm using this one in particular, because I don't really want any harsh materials on my skin, because that sounds like it will suck. I have 18 days left, so I'm just trying to get as much done as I possibly can, so I can just sew it all together, pin it, all that jazz, and then just go from there and just sew it all, get it all done. It's crunch time. So yeah, I'm gonna go back to draping out the sleeve pattern, and we'll see where this goes. Progress update. So elven sleeves, like waterfall sleeves, are very, very difficult, as I'm finding out. And no matter what I tried, I could not get it to drape properly. I was trying to like trim it on the inside. So I'm kind of doing a bit of a cheat to make this work. So let me show you what I have. So originally I had the full sleeve patterned out like this, to where it can overlap, but it's in like the middle of my shoulder instead of just like on the top of the shoulder. So this was the original plan, so it could just kind of overlap like that, essentially. That's a really bad description, but it just wasn't working. So I am keeping them as waterfall sleeves, but I'm going to have them rest on my mid bicep and then make an actual sleeve that'll go on top of that, basically hide the seams essentially. So I've now made a double layer of this because I have two versions of the, oh, scared that I did it wrong for a second. That is another task that is now done. I just have to fully trace out the pattern onto the other side. So we're making progress. Oh my gosh. At this point in time, I have started to reach level spite, where I will get this dress done by any means necessary because I can, because it's the dress I've dreamed of since I was a little kid and the dress that I want to make work. So I'm literally going to finish this because of spite. And then I'm excited to wear it because I'm so excited to wear this. This one, I don't really care as much as about it, but it's still going to be pretty, it's still going to look good. So yeah, let's finish patterning this out because then I can actually use the actual sleeve pattern, which is this one. We trudge through, put together a makeshift light box so I can transfer all of the lines to the other one. Innovation. Okay, I need to be kind of quiet because we're inside the main house. So I've been basically futzing around for 2 hours trying to figure out how I'm going to pin these armor pieces. But so this is the back with the two cap sleeve pieces on the back panel. But the main part is how the sleeve looks. So I pinned in the makeshift teardrop sleeve and then the tool's already there. And then adding this panel in here on the cap sleeves on top. And trying it on, it looks so cool. So, but I do need to get to bed. So, because this is see-through because I couldn't figure out how to make the actual sleeve portion for this. So what I'm going to do is going to use my regular sleeve pattern up a sleeve to just kind of fill in here, and also this into there. I need to add a lining to this. So good. Alright y'all, I'm now back from work and now to just head into the house so I could keep working on the dress. Because we now have, I don't know how many days at this point, but I will be finishing this dress if it's the last thing I do. Not today, but this week at least, getting all of the sewing done. So yeah. A lot of finger pricks. It is now almost 1:30 a.m. I finally figured out how to do the elbow sleeves. Oh my gosh. And I completely stabbed myself while trying it on. But like I mentioned, I don't have a dress like this. So I accidentally made this elbow sleeves too small, so I cut a hole of the sleeve and angled it inward, and then pinned this around, and it looks so much better. I'm so excited. So this is the last thing I'm doing tonight before I go to bed because I need to be up early for work. But then, as far as the jacket goes, the last things that I need to sew on are these and these, and then it'll be the appliques and then the cuffs for the tulle sleeves underneath. And then it'll be attaching it to the big skirt. There's an end in sight, thank God. Okay, it is now almost 11:15 at night, and this is the next night after I stayed up way too late to get the other one done. But now I'm going to try on the dress. So I made a ton of progress on the armor panels, and then I have like a little bit of tweaking that'll be needed. I pinned the jacket to the skirt. We're gonna see if this works. Y'all are not ready for this. Oh my god. Okay. So one thing I need to do is take the skirt. Stop, I'm focusing. I need to bring the skirt higher to like say about here, but so I can cinch and then sew in on the front. All that, honestly the back looks way better, but oh my gosh, from the back it looks magical. From the front it doesn't look great, but the back looks freaking magical. Okay, now I know that what I need to do with this is just put this a lot higher. Hello everyone, we have a week and 4 days until the wedding. And am I done with the dresses? No. Am I done with decor? Also no. We are now back at my mom and dad's house. Now it's time to make some extra panels, because of course I'm going to, because it's gonna be the way that it'll make everything look more even and more symmetrical. Yeah. So far, this dress is looking absolutely lovely, especially now looking at it next day. It's looking pretty good, but now we're back on the ceremony dress because the ceremony dress is slightly more complicated than the other one. Also, I have wedding nails now. So yeah, let's get to patterning these extra panels. Then we can go about sewing the appliques to them. Because honestly, I do have a lot less for both dresses than I thought. Because honestly, I literally just have to finish sewing all the appliques for the reception dress. That's all I have to do, really, with that one. And then add the 3D flowers, which I need to sort through. And then for the ceremony dress, I just have the 2 extra panels to make, and then sewing on the rest of the appliques, and then putting the snaps on the front down the center. And that's part of the reason why I'm adding the extra panels, because the collar area kind of looks a little bit funky. So that'll be one of the main things that I pattern out tonight. As the sleeves are done, pretty much everything is done. It's just like the final details. So that's another kind of reason why I want to do a panel down the front, specifically at like the waist down. It'll just be like a symmetrical panel that just basically hangs in the front to cover up part of the snap fastenings, essentially. The front of the skirt comes up a little bit, and that's a bit of a problem. So I have to figure out how to make that work so it doesn't look weird. Okay, I've been bouncing around a little bit. I'm just gonna go ahead and sew the bodice to the skirt because I just want to be done with that, and then I can adjust as necessary. So I made this panel, which will go on the waist. And then I also have this center panel. It's kind of Star Wars-esque, but I was having a lot of trouble finding like examples of this. Kind of like how Queen Amidala's cloak, the front of her costume kind of drapes downward. So planning to more than likely layer this on top of this, and then I have this applique that didn't really work with the rest of the vibe. Putting it right there will look really, really pretty. I also have this collar panel, which I'm putting this applique on. So yeah, it's just a lot of work. Let's get to sewing. And then I don't have any spare needles with me right now, so I can't gather the tulle sleeves, but I think I have about 2 hours until I should be going to bed. So all of this is now sewed. Process of pinning these up. My mom is home, so she's helping me with the dress too. This is taking forever. Because I have to sew and turn, sew and turn. I hate things so much. Alright, y'all. Reception dress. Done. We got this done last night at 11 ish, I think. I can't remember at this point. But it all looks gorgeous. We ended up just saying screw it and going with hot glue instead of sewing these on individually, because thank God I made that decision, because that would have just taken forever. So my bridesmaids worked on tapering the flowers up. The zipper is still sticking out, but then we'll just have to stick it in there, so that'll be fine. So this is pretty much entirely done unless I decide to make a sporadic decision and add some stuff last minute, which is not out of the question. So that, almost done. I have to sew on all the appliques for it, which already they're all pinned currently, and then we also have the panels to still sew back on. Yeah, we'll figure that out. Liz came over for a makeup and hair test yesterday, so there's still a little bit of stuff left in my hair and a little bit of makeup left on my face, but makeup looks great, hair looks great, and then with my flower crown and veil, everything looks fantastic. So final touches on ceremony dress, and then we are done. Then I just have to focus on decor before the wedding. Let's get this done. So today is the last day I am giving to make this dress work. Luckily, I have a solution, which is Velcro strips that are stick-on, and it's actually working really, really well. But also we had the issue that you could see my reception dress underneath the dress. So looking in my market inventory, I realized I had this plus size skirt. It's kind of sheer, but whatever, I'm wearing shorts underneath it, so whatever. It is the perfect size, perfect fit and everything, and it'll go just right underneath my ceremony dress to cover up the fact that there's a colorful one underneath it, and we're golden. So I hate to say it, even though this is vintage, I am going to be cutting it down the side in order for it to help with the quick transformation. Or I might cut it down the front. I think I might cut it down the front, because then it'll just go easily underneath my dress, and then we're done. But let me show you the Velcro pieces. So this is the front now. Got Velcro here, 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 and also here. It's sewn all in through this area, through here. But final stretch, y'all. Final stretch. I get married in 3 days. Technically 4 days, because tomorrow's Wednesday, then we have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. It's crazy.